conservative Tom Elliott. They're speaking of how the new Victorian Premier is going to look at toughening the bail laws and doing this and doing that, even though we've got reports of a very broken prison system, riots in, just ridiculous prison systems, ridiculously farcical court system. But what they're pushing for, understandably, because the crimes being committed are like horror crimes. They're running through people's homes. Just normal everyday people. You clearly can't have that in the community, no matter what age the people are doing it. However, what my point is here, what I would like to do, is I would like to say, okay, let's do this, right? But can we draw a line now? Can we say, okay, Christmas, January 27, 5 years from this point, we'll test the organised crime, we'll test the drug water, we'll test the prison system, the courts, the crime level, the disenfranchisement, all the things we have data, genuine data, not doctored data, just genuine factual data, not data that, will keep Odyssey House in funding. Genuine data, not misconstrued or biased views because it's coming from an old police officer who's had 120 years of his family working in the force, which is great. Good on you. Thank you very much. However, you know as well as I do, your view is biased, and you couldn't go to a worse segment. I mean, they literally come up, bloody junkies, oh, another junkie. Ah, geez, I wouldn't want one of those twits in my... But they literally have a culture of hating on them. So going to them for advice is ridiculous. Anyhow, so my point is, could we just draw a line? Could we just sort of say, okay, 27, 5 years from now, we'll come forward and let's see. Because I'll tell you what will happen. Whatever changes they make will all be outright bunkum. They'll just appease the Tom Elliots of this world. They'll appease, granted, fingers crossed, you may stop a few kids running through a house, but I can assure you, of a city the size of Melbourne, a state the size of Victoria, if 500 kids running through a house just because it's public, that's not a reflection of your crime problem, mate. Your organised crime, a guy just got shot in Altona, a 21-year-old got shot in Craigieburn, a 20-year-old got stabbed by a 17-year-old, gang culture, blah, 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 I could continue. That's your crime problem. Kids, just because you can see a crime, that's all they're doing. They're just trying to appease the Tom Elliots of this, will sweep that away. I don't want to see that. I don't want to be reminded how shit a society we really have become. That's all it is. They just don't want to be reminded daily of how shit a society we really are. That's the reality. You got 5,000 brothels in Victoria. You got 1,100 supermarkets. Hello, we clearly turned left in the fork of the road somewhere. So my point is, I would love them to go, righto, no worries, we introduced anti-fortification laws, get rid of those bikies. We got more bikies and more organised. They had a Nom app. They had they were inside a bikie club, right? They knew every move. You know how many messages there were? There were that many messages. They ended up going, Barleys, we got to stop this. What we'll do is we'll just arrest the what they call the doors, which are the people who are on the take on the customs, the doors, the people, you know, on the wharfs and whatnot. We'll arrest them, and we'll arrest anybody who, like, to prevent murders. And then they sort of reported, like, oh, we had to put a stop to save lives and whatnot. But then it later came out, there was that much messaging and whatnot going on. They literally couldn't continue. They just couldn't. They did not have the time to collate it all. So if that is not, that was one Mikey outfit. And then that crumbled. That didn't even fold. It didn't even crumble. It just like went down a little bit. They made a few high-profile arrests. They knew who the high-profile fish they were after, like literally had them. I think, I don't know, Mark Buttle, who knows? So they actually knew a few of the higher players locked in. But then it's just, they're still there. They're still rolling around in Lamborghinis. And so my point is, they had that. That was one. They're not getting any near it. So my point is, they're going to come in, Ben Carroll's right, we're going to do tough on crime, we're going to tighten the bail laws, we're going to do this, and we're going to appease Tom Elliott, all right? We'll shut him up, we'll appease Tom, okay? Tom will be happy. He won't walk past a junkie anymore, and those kids won't be bloody, rightly so. Tom's right in that regard. They've gone carnage. You can't have kids killing each other. Anyhow, my point is, the crime problem will not change. Can we just now draw a line, though? Could we please? Could we maybe go January 27 or whenever these bail laws and all these tightening up and whatnot? Can we go, okay, great, thanks, no worries. Now let's just draw a line. Because I'll tell you why. In 1990, we had a thing called, and I'm going to use this one drug as one example because it's relatively well, there's data. We had a thing called an overdose toll in the Herald Sun, literally, and it was over, like you would have, from memory, it was like 298 heroin overdoses, and you had 267 road toll. There was a heroin epidemic. It was worldwide, but it was definitely strong in Australia and in Melbourne in particular, and Sydney's Cabramatta's and what have you. And what happened is we ended up in Victoria. There was a overdose toll. They needed to clean up. You had people walking down Smith Street, Collingwood, showing you caps. They were holding caps of heroin. You had them in Richmond, just, you know, popping caps. Russell Street was another strong one. It was everywhere. It was rife. You had like this big street scene. It was in your face big time. There was little vets, Stookie, you know, they'd pull out brick stooks in Russell Street and stook their gear and their cash there. And you had street cops desperately, I got one. Jeez. You know, what am I going to do with one? Oh, God. Yeah. Just running around in circles. But they swept it up, and to be honest, what happened was methamphetamine came along. So methamphetamine came along and changed the demographic of the drug users, but, you know, with a concerted effort, there was a bit of a sweeping and whatnot. However, one thing stayed the same. They just shifted it. My point is, the overdoses, still as good a measure as you're ever going to get, of went up. Tick, 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 tick. Which means all the crimes that go to get for those people to score their heroin, just because you don't see it, it doesn't mean it's not happening, is my point. All it just did was move into the commission flats or move off the street or move there, you know. So they cleaned it up. Yeah, great. Tom Elliott felt happy. Yeah, look, I can go walk past the street and go to Woolworths on Smith Street and I don't have to worry about, you know, seeing some bloody drug dealer. Bloody great. You don't want a city like that, obviously. However, my point is, it's still there. It didn't do anything about the organised crime selling the drugs, and therefore it didn't do anything about the person needing to steal off you to feed that heroin habit, and it didn't do anything about the person who you paid for when it was time to go to a rehab. And this is how nonsensical the whole system is. It's moronic. You have these people with, in effect, their snouts in the trough. So let me give you got people from, blessed, beautiful people from NA. Their entire model is paid around pretending that we're going to get there, like total... You got Odyssey House, a state-funded rehab. It has about a 7% success rate, literally. Like when you go there, you see in the first month, so all this month they're getting, it costs a lot of money. You probably have 7 out of the 100 intake stay. And then out of that 7, you probably have another 3 that actually succeed and stay. It's very, very, very costly is my point. You pay for it. You're paying for that system. But because they're getting funded from this present system, they don't want to tell the truth. They don't want to do, well, hang on, maybe it's not working, yeah. I know, but we had a good result of that one person who was ready to put the drugs down at about 50 years of age, and we sort of, look, truth be told, yeah, now you say it, if we actually put somebody who was ready to put the drugs down on an island with no drugs, and then nursed them, fed them well, and nursed them back into the community slowly after about 18 months, 2 years, gave them a job, housing. I guess they'd probably have equal, if not better chance of staying off drugs too, yeah, you might be right, okay. It's a moron. The whole system to do with drugs and therefore your crime, your house getting robbed, it's a farce. My point is, so we have this in 1990s. They swept it up, they changed it, they toughened bail laws, they did everything. They're going to shoot wonders and shit cucumbers, ladies and gentlemen. What? Here's the overdose toll. Which means it's gone up. Hello? So my point is, please, if you get this, hello, Ben Carroll, who looks far, I don't even know. I think you just quietly, I know this probably isn't the best way to negotiate something, but between me and you, Ben, you look a little bit like dazed. Like honestly, like you just come out from a shoot or something like, what? Premier? Me? Huh? Really? Oh, hey? Okay. All right, anyway. Well, that rich bastard said for me to do it. So, yeah, all right. Anyhow, so Ben, if you get this, could you maybe consider this? Could you maybe consider, like, just draw a line in the sand? Say, look, we love you, police. We love you, rehabs. We don't really love you, magistrates. But that's it. Enough. I'm sick of Lamborghini driving gangsters. I'm sick. What are we doing? We're just throwing $50 billion a year, each and every year. It's madness. While not only do we give the $50 billion away, then the public pays another $10 billion or whatever it is to house people in prison, rehabs, health, needle programs, and on and on and on. If there was ever an example of a system or a bunch of people, a segment of society, a group of people in society who should be like user pays, you got to pay for a bloody toll road. You would think by 2026, get over your bitterness and your pettiness and let the bloody junkie pay for his own rehab. Hello? No, what we'll do is we'll let the organised criminals profit, right? They're going to profit, all right, Ben? They'll have all the money. Then you can charge the public. Yeah. It's moronic. Speak soon, guys.